super special, and to come to find out she's from South Carolina as well. And she's been a good friend of mine, and I'm very grateful that she's here. She's added a lot to us, and she's helped so many, and a lot of stuff she does in her community and her outreach and harm reduction, and she has a powerful, powerful story. And today, she is going to talk about perseverance and tell us a little bit about herself, and I'm ready for this one. So here, her name is Scarless on TikTok. I call her Scarlett. She does have a government name, but we're not going to talk about that. But here's Scarlett.
What's up, Charleston? Alright, so perseverance. So in order to talk about perseverance, I gotta go back to the person that I used to be and give you a little info on her. Her name was Kayla. She was a child that was brought up, well, I am a child that was brought up in a pretty rough world. I was brought up around meth users, people drinking 24/7. Like, if my dad didn't have a beer before breakfast, it wasn't normal. Through that, I learned a lot of self-doubt. I didn't know my worth. I didn't know who I was because I was dealing with their problems and not my life. Fast forward to my teen years, I got pregnant real young. And to learn how to be a young mom was really hard for me. And then I had another, and another, and another. And we're just going to continue this on to 6. Guys, 6. Out of all that, it was hard. And then I started using. About my 5th child, I started falling short into drugs. And it started with just a simple pill, like a pill to help me go to sleep. And then it fed into, oh, well, I need a Roxy 15 to even start my day. And then the next phase, as most of us know, is you lose the pills because the doctor cut your script, and you wind up on fentanyl and heroin. That's where this story's going, guys. So in 2016 area, me and my baby daddy decided that it was a great idea to start shooting heroin because we couldn't find any pills that didn't want to be sick. Watching us both walk through that journey was really hard for me. It was hard for him, and fast forward, we're not together. We didn't make it. But during that time, I learned 3 things. That I didn't want to be the same way that I was. That I was tired of living in that disgust. I was tired of living in a filthy house. I was tired of not having food to eat. I was tired of having to figure out what my next scam was. And y'all, I'm going to tell y'all right now, old receipts, changing the numbers on them and giving them to somebody else works fabulous. Ask that man right there. But I say all that to say, you know, if it weren't for me learning the word perseverance, got it, I wouldn't have made it through that. I would have unalived myself because there were many nights in my bathroom floor that I laid on that floor withdrawing and crying and begging God, just take me now. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be here. God, just release my soul from my body and let me go on to the afterlife because there is nothing I'm doing here that is helping. Well, then in 2020, right before COVID hit, guys, that's when I chose to start getting sober. Not a great choice, I wouldn't recommend it. But I started to get sober in 2020, and I started at the methadone clinic, guys. Like, I started doing the dose daily. And I mean, I tried Suboxone before, but I felt like they were easier to sell than to take, just saying. Not recommending, just not. But I started taking methadone, and that was a whole trial in itself because eventually I got to the point 2 years later that I felt like the methadone was just another drug that was just legal and easier to get. So I felt like, you know, through that process that I needed to let go of that as well. And in 2022, we had a very heartbreaking passing in our family. My son's aunt and his stepdaughter, she ended up passing away by an accidental overdose. She was on the news. She went missing. And guys, when I sat in that hospital bed, I was on methadone still, but it made me think that methadone is only one step away from going back to what I used to be. And so I feared that my family would then have to bury me too. And going through her funeral and watching her mother grieve a child, and it be her only child, really affected me. And it made me start thinking that there had to be a different avenue. So I started trying to look for rehabs for myself. I had no luck. My insurance wasn't very good. But there came a night that I had a guy pull up at a gas station and tell me that I wouldn't be here to make it till tomorrow. I called 911 like the crybaby I am, and the cops put me in the middle ward. I'm just saying, they put me in the middle ward, guys. Don't call them. It's not worth it. But I went to the middle ward, and then they took me from the middle ward and put me into a rehab facility named Rebound up in Lancaster, South Carolina. During this time, I had 9 days to detox off of methadone, and I could have went into further treatment, but I had a dad who was sick at home, and I wanted to spend his last few months with him. So I come back to Charleston. I'm glad that I did in many ways, but there's part of me that always wonders, what would have happened had I went into residential treatment? Would I be further along in my recovery? Would I have more tools than what I have now? But at the end of the day, I chose my choice, and I'm proud of it. I did the 9 days, and I beat methadone. Fast forward a few more years, we're still struggling with my son's father. We're still having late night phone calls of him losing his mind because he's still hung up on things. And I'm gonna tell y'all guys, perseverance is what I had to have. I had to stay strong for everybody else around me, because if I broke, I didn't think he would ever fix. Now, I will say this, fast forward a few more years, he did get sober, guys. We got him treatment. It didn't come without fight. It did, because there were many times that we were on the phone just yelling at each other, screaming at each other, telling each other things that we should have never said. But, at the end of the day, it's what got him sober. In 2022, I started a company, the Fallon and Johnny Project. It was dedicated to my dad and Fallon that had both passed due to addiction-related issues. I started this company that I run day to day. I answer phones for people that are struggling. I help with the homeless when I can. I go out and hand out hand warmers when it's cold, stuff like that. But I started it all because of my story. Because of how much the fire I walked through, and I felt like a lot of it I didn't have people, even though I had a few key people, like I had a few people in my life that really cared for me, but I felt alone. I felt tired. I felt broken. And I don't want anybody else to feel like that. Even walking into sobriety, man, that's the hardest choice of your life. I'm gonna tell you, there are so many things that I'd rather walk through again than to walk through having to get sober. And I think that's the thought that keeps me clean, because I just don't want to go through withdrawals over again. It's not for me. But growing up in the situation I grew up in and dealing with the things that I dealt with as an early adult taught me how to stand in my faith. It taught me how to believe, how to know when I need to hit my knees and say, God, just take it. God, you can have it all. I'm laying it at the cross right now. Fix it, because if I fix it, I'm catching I'm catching charges. It's a firm statement in my life. I say it a lot. Sorry, guys, I didn't write this out good. Oh yeah, she wants me to talk about punching sheetrock, guys. So my way of dealing with anger over the last few years was punching sheetrock. I recently learned how to beat that. That took some strength, because now, instead of punching people's faces and punching sheetrock, I punch a guy, take it. We can't be doing that though, guys, I'm just gonna say. Punch a sheetrock, get your fellies. I got to walk this amazing journey, and I got to meet some amazing people like Never Long Recovery, Krista the Sober Barbie here, Farrell back there, Kendall, all of y'all have impacted my life, and y'all helped me to keep pressing on. And, oh yeah, we can't forget Cheeks McGee over there.
Shake's distracted you. Wonderful.
But you know, I want to say to anybody watching this right now, even if you don't feel like it, you're God's perfect creation. He can take your puzzle that feels completely jumbled up and broken down and turn it into a masterpiece. You know how I know? I've watched it happen. If you ask my family about me, one of the things that they'll tell you probably is about my personality, because I don't know if y'all know, y'all might not know, but I got a big personality, even though I stand. But they're also probably going to touch on the fact that I'm a strong one, that I've learned to fight through storms that a lot of them I should have never had to fight through. But when I come out on the other side of that rain, there's a beautiful silver lining and rainbow every time. Like God always has something waiting better for me. You know, from the kid that had more baggage than Spirit Airlines would charge for, I'm doing pretty good, I think. It's so hard. But, you know, I'm thankful for every bit of it, though, because when you walk through the fire, like a lot of us walk through, you find purpose. You find it every day. You find a reason to get up in the morning and say, you know what, today's not going to be perfect, but I got this. I got it 100%. And you know, for the people that we lost along the way, man, going to their funerals and stuff, that was hard. But we made it through the funerals and we didn't lose. And that's an amazing thing. Like, everybody in this room that has a history with alcoholism and drug addiction, like, I just want y'all to know that this is a devil that we will fight for the rest of our life. And the more we fight him, the more the things are going to come at us. And fiery darts don't stop just because you get sober. Like from day one to the day I lay my head in the casket and go for that long nap. I'll always fight this, and you will too. So keep your head up. Let's put on the armor of God and keep going. I'm a mic drop on that.
You did so good, Scarless. It's powerful. Always powerful. That's a perfect example of how we just keep pushing through and we're part of God's plan and we help the next man. And I love you, Scarless.